Hey, good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Hope you're doing well. Oh, it's a rainy, cold week here in Philadelphia. My family's sick. I would have done a show yesterday. But you know what? You make excuses for doing something like, I'll do it next. I'll do it next. There's always something going to come on, drag it on. So, I coach myself all the time and I mess up every once in a while. But you got to do it when you got to do it, right? I had to go to the doctors. I got my fair skin, get it checked out. You don't want to know about all that stuff, though. But I will say they froze, dried all my sunspots, and then my face wasn't looking too good. So I said, I can do it a show. But today is Wednesday. We Team Wednesday, HR Wednesday, where we talk about teaming activities, HR stuff here on the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. And today I want to talk about bringing new people on your team and onboarding and having them do documentation, updating documentation. I was reading Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, and he talks about hiring people and how do you get them to be more productive quicker, right? And that's part of buying back the time. You may not think about it, but the quicker your team is up to speed and doing stuff, your new hires, the quicker you can progress. And he talks about a lot of things. So I want to talk about something I've been doing for years is encouraging my new hires to help with the documentation. So we're going to get in that today on our show, on our We Team HR Wednesday here on the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, where we try to bring ideas and tips and tricks from an agile perspective in business so that you can bring value to your customer, not work so hard to bring that value to your customer and have a little fun along the way. So in his book, he talks about Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, one of his points he makes about when you hire people, how do you get people up to speed quick enough to buy back your time? You're hiring someone to help. And one of the things he talks about is have them do the documentation, have them update documentation. And I'm going to put a little more twist to it. So, and I'm going to do another show next week on HR on onboarding process. And Leela Hormozy, she talks about the onboarding a lot. If you ever listen to her stuff's great from a COO, Chief Operating Officer perspective. She really does a great job. And I'm going to talk about that next week in our show. And don't forget, if you know any veterans, I am offering coaching for 6 months for 5 veterans if they would like to sign up for it. Still got a couple spots left on that one before the end of the year. And I don't know, something good to do and give back to people. Anyway, so let's talk about HR, HR onboarding and bringing a person on the team. What do you do? HR hire somebody, they get you on the team, you're bringing them on. What are you doing? Well, and I'm going to talk more about that in the HR onboarding process. But, you sit them in front of documentation, or you have them pick up a new tool or a new application or a new coding language or a new skill that maybe your team does something in a certain way and you want the new hire to understand how your team does this. Part of that involves documentation. Sometimes, and there's a notification. If you are listening, if you are subscribed to the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, whether it be in Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, you should probably get a notification that we just went live. So it's coming. Delayed, though. It took a while. But we are live. And again, if you comment, I will see the comments. One of the things that I try to get my teams to do, and sometimes managers do it, sometimes Scrum Masters, sometimes they don't, sometimes team, because as a coach, I can just kind of advise and say, why don't you do this? Because in the long run, you'll get a better, quicker, faster production, and they'll memorize stuff. Like, we tell people all the time, well, how do you remember stuff? How do you learn stuff? Well, one, you learn by listening and watching, observing, right? 2, you then have to record it somewhere. So you do that hand gesture. We talked about that many years ago on when I was doing my TIR stuff, thinking in, what was it? Thinking in results, right? Part of it's the handwriting. When you do your 10 things, you write it down, because when you write it and think it sticks to your brain. but then also recording it to share with other people. And part of the way we grow as people and become more progressed in what we do is how we share with others. If you just absorb stuff, but you never share it, kind of like I do in the show, you don't grow, you don't understand it, you don't get a deeper knowledge because now you're challenging stuff. Oh, I absorbed it. Oh, now I got to transmit it back to somebody else. A whole different story, right? So one of the things I encourage all my teams to do when they're onboarding people and they're learning new stuff, or maybe there is no documentation. So one, if there is documentation, maybe there is no documentation on what they do. I always challenge, well, when you're teaching them something we don't have documentation for because we did part of our definition done, maybe we didn't do the documentation, or it's before Agile, before you met me, and I'm like, well, why aren't you documenting your stuff as you go? And then they start documenting it, and maybe there's some pre-life, and you never go back. You never go back in time to document everything. It's a waste of money, waste of effort. Only document it if you end up then touching the code or that part of the effort. Never go back and touch old stuff, old code. Try to write document. Oh, we need the doc. No, just forget it. Let it go. If you come back and work it, then document what you did and how you did it. I mean, if you can remember one sprint, that's great. But if it's a couple sprints old, 6 months, year, do not try to document it. Go through it again and run through it. We got a comment here. Sharing is caring and makes us human. Oh, Joanne, here you go. I'm going to show it. So I'm sharing her comment. I hope she doesn't mind on the show. Thanks, Jana. So I'm sharing that. Sharing is caring. Caring makes human. It's true. So that's a good point. Have them update the documentation, right? So if there is no documentation, part of the onboarding process, oh, by the way, we're going to teach you this. Part of your job in learning this can adding value. Now look at this. Adding value right away. I'm not waiting 6 months. I'm not waiting 3 sprints. I'm like right away. I'm going to teach you this application. I want you to create the documentation, which then adds value to the team and the ultimate end to value to the customer. So they're part of that. They have a task. It's just not, I'm going to fall asleep. I fell asleep because I was watching videos for 10 days, right? It's going to learn something, and I want you to document it because I want to see how you interpret what we said, because one of the other things, and we'll talk about that in another session, that Dan Martell talks about is other people see things differently. So maybe when they document it and you go back and look at it, so, that was a good point. I didn't think about that. Maybe next time I show someone how to do this, I got to include that, or you missed something. And why did you miss something? Because I forgot to tell you about it. By the way, if you hit this button, the whole thing blows up, something like that. You forgot. So you get that capability where they're now coming away with something. They feel like they're adding value. It encourages new onboard hires to be a part of the team because they feel like they're contributing, because they don't feel like they're contributing when all they're doing is absorbing training. Sorry, it's the truth, right? So give them something like updating the documents or creating new documents where if they didn't exist in the first place, right? Now, if you have documentation that exists, maybe part of their documentation, because some people will write notes, say, hey, I want to see you put a couple comments in here, add some value to what we did. So maybe we have it all documented in Confluence or some page or what's the other stuff? I don't know. Anyway, it's up there, right? It's in our system. I know Microsoft has a different system for documenting. Maybe they put some comments in there. Oh, by the way, comment here. I tried this. This is something I saw that was interesting. Put those comments in there because you know what? It's just going to help other people come on. Oh, why did this previous new hire comment on here? What do they have to say? And it's going to inspire them, their creative, their desire to dig in a little bit. And it makes the training go better. And it makes them better value, right? So what I'm saying here in our We Team HR Wednesday is that when you bring people on board, have them update documentation as part of their training, right? Give them something to provide value back to the team. If there is no documentation, it's all verbal, let them do that, right? So I wanted to share that with you because I think it's important. I think it's important when we bring on board, we make them feel part of the team. We make sure they feel like they're contributing right away. Because, I mean, unless your brain is broke, I mean, you can, but nobody really feels good about getting paid for not doing anything. Nobody really gets, a thrill for getting paid for training. Though I will say it's nice when people would argue with me, and I can tell you a story. I had product owners that, well, I don't want to go to training. I'm like, you're getting paid to go to training and you come out with a certification. What is wrong with that? Why would you object? Because you're going to use the training for years to come with the company. They do that for you to bring more value back. You get trained to bring the value back. Anyway, so they don't like doing that. So why put them in the position of feeling guilty of they're getting paid for just watching videos all day? So why don't you pay them a little bit? I mean, we pay them. Why don't you get them to document a little bit and update your documentation? Because nobody likes to do documentation. So make the newbies do it, right? So that's what I'm suggesting here. And it's a great way. And they get to know it and they share it. Maybe they point out some things that they did, and maybe they review it with whoever was training them. And the two of them get a better feel for how to do it in the future, right? So with that, I just wanted to share that with you today, because I know in the new year, we're going to hire some new people. New people are coming on board. Most companies do that. Come the beginning of the year, you got new budgets, new stuff, like new projects and all that stuff in the new year. So they're going to have to hire. So this is something I wanted to share. And I'm going to share something in next Wednesday's video to talk about hiring and onboarding and stuff like that too. So with that, I want to wish you all a great day. Happy scrumming. I hope you feel good. A lot of people in my household are getting sick. Eddie just got done with the flu, or not the flu. He had pneumonia, actually. It got really bad. So I'm like, stay away, stay away. So my household's been a mess for like a week. Anyway, take care. Take your vitamins. Stay healthy. Stay positive. If you get all mummy and glummy, you're going to get a cold. So don't do that. So stay positive. Watch a show. Have some fun. Comment. Share back with me. And don't forget, if you join our newsletter group, you have an opportunity for free access to the Slack channel. And the Slack channel for the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, which I'll invite you to. Once you sign up and say, yeah, I want to be part of Slack channel, you can discuss and share with other agile people, business people and such, and get some feedback that's more than just big time social media. I'll have to tell you a story about social media with my students the other day. Whoa. Anyway, a great learning experience for me. You have a great day. Enjoy. Happy holidays. If I don't talk to you, if you don't get to see the show, hope you watch the show. Hope you subscribe so you get notifications on your phones and stuff like that we did go live. With that, wish you the best. Take care. I know I drugged on. Happy scrubbing, everyone. Happy holidays, too. Take care.